Hello YouTube and welcome to another video where we're gonna solve some more tactics. And no, this is not Puzzle Rush, although I have been playing Puzzle Rush quite a bit lately. This will be just simply tactical solving on chess.com. Alright, so I feel like I haven't been doing these much lately. And frankly, it's going to take some effort to get in the zone again, because when you're solving Puzzle Rush problems, you're kind of just like in a rush. You don't actually take your time to figure everything out all the time, and that has its good points and bad points. So I feel like this is going to be tough. And as you can see, I've passed 437 right now and failed at 96. And I've failed at probably a bit too many. I want to get this percentage as low as possible. So I will definitely try at least to solve these as correctly as I can. All right, so let's just start it now. So white just played G captures H3, and we're black. So what is going on here, and what can we expect to achieve? So the first thing I'm looking at is a check, and since knight f3 check doesn't look that good because white can capture twice, I feel like queen g5 is at least I have to look at that. Queen g5 check. Also maybe knight to g4, but after bishop captures g4, I feel like we're just trading pieces, because after knight g4, bishop captures g4, I have to play something like h5, but then the bishop can just drop back, even simply take on h5, but I think that will lose. But simply bishop back to e2 will probably lose me the game, because I'm already 2 pieces down. A rook and a knight. So I have obviously sacrificed material here to get into this position, and we need to figure out how to do that. So queen g5 is my first move to consider. And that comes with a check, and there are several, at least 2-3 different options for white to go from there. So knight g2, obvious reply, but then we have knight to f3, check, which in turn will probably win us the game, because the king can't go to h2, and we can play, I don't know what we can play. Everything looks like it's winning there. So I'm ruling out knight to g2 for now. But we're going to take a look at that. Go back and look at that. So after queen g5 check, what about, let's say, king to h1? If king h2, obviously knight f3, it comes with a double check, and that's not good. That's not good at all for white. So king h1 after queen g5 check. If that were to happen, then what do we play? That might be, I think, white's best move. King h1. Because bishop g4, and I have h5 or even f5, and I can, after f5, bring my rook in and also win back some material. So queen g5, king h1 seems to me the critical line. Also, maybe just capturing on h3. Instead of queen g5 check, just capturing on h3. That also looks very promising. But one thing though is, after queen captures h3, he plays f4. Now, what do I play there? If f4, And it's kind of blocking my bishop. And my knight, wherever it moves, can be captured. So I probably have to take en passant there. He captures f3. And then rook captures, probably threatening my queen. No, not rook captures. Then I can capture that back with my knight, obviously. Duh. So knight captures. Yeah, knight captures. Knight captures back on f3. Queen captures f3. Queen h2 check. King to f1. Queen to h1 check. King to f2. Really hard to see where that is leading us. So now queen g5 and queen captures h3 are our main moves. The reason why I like queen g5 so much in the beginning was that, in fact, we're stopping f4 for the moment. Maybe we could consider something else. Maybe. But nah. Those are my only two options, it seems. Queen captures h3, f4, en passant. Knight captures back. Rook or bishop captures, but if bishop captures, then there's obviously checkmate on h2. So rook captures on f3. Queen h2 check. King f1. And now queen to h1 check. King to f2. But where do I go from there? I do not see a good continuation. I do not see a good continuation. Maybe something like queen h4 check. Really hard to see. Yeah. But queen h3, queen captures h3, seems to me as it forces at least a draw. Seems to me that we're going to have a draw there. And since we're down to... Oh, we're down so much material. We're down 2 pieces. I don't see a mate. I do not see a mate. Okay, let's go for this. Okay, let's go again. Then I do believe in queen g5, but no. Alright. Then knight f3. What is going on there? Really? Okay. Okay, indeed. And now we're taking? Really? I've been playing too much Puzzle Rush here. Too much. Because now we're stopping at 4. And now we play this move, and obviously here, and here, and here. Okay. But that was terrible, actually. So I went through some of the moves in that line, but I didn't actually consider them to be a realistic line. Knight f3 check. Okay. I have to up my game here. But I think my move actually was bishop captures first, then pawn captures, then knight captures. But does it really make any difference after queen captures h3? Because we're threatening to capture the knight here. But we're not threatening a mate. That's the thing. So after bishop captures... maybe after bishop captures we can still play queen captures h3 immediately. Maybe that's the idea. Okay. That's pretty fun. I like it. I like it. The more I look at it, the more I like it. Okay, let's go to the next. Rook b to c8, or just rook to c8. Alright. So a move that stands out immediately is bishop to c5. Obviously, we're threatening mating 1. And how can black actually defend against that? How can black defend against that? So after bishop c5, the king has to move to d8. And then maybe bishop to b6 check, forcing the king back. Or even rook to d7 check, forcing the king back. But I like bishop c5. It forces the king to d8. Only move not to be mated. Bishop c5, king d8. Now I don't think e7 works. e7 check. If the king moves back, obviously. Well, maybe it does. So bishop c5, king d8, e7, check. King goes to e8, rook f8 check, king goes to d7. Now we're kind of having a problem, because if we try to queen now, our rook is on f8, so we don't deliver check when we promote. So that's kind of a big issue there. That's kind of a big issue. So bishop c5, king d8. Bishop b6 check, king back to e8. Wait, what about bishop c5, king d8, bishop e7 check? Well, the king can drop back though. Yeah. I was thinking that I had some discovered checks if king c7, but I don't think that's the issue there. The king can simply move back to e8 anyways. Oh my god! Bishop c5, king d8, and bishop d6. What am I doing? The rook on c8 is basically stopping the king's escape. So bishop here, then king d8, then bishop to d6. And where does the king go? He has no more squares. And if rook c7, obviously rook f8 is still mate. Okay, let's do that. Yes. Yes. We got one. I don't know why it took me so long to figure out that bishop d6 was winning there. Kind of fun. Because you're not looking at such small moves like that, but that's exactly the moves you should be looking for when the king tries to escape, right? Next one. Knight to d7. So the queen on g4 looks kind of unstable there. It doesn't look like it has many squares to go to. So if I were to play, let's say, f3, where are the black queen's options? Well, it can't go to g3, we take it with a knight. It can't go to h3, we take it with a pawn. It can't take the pawn, we take it back. It can't go to f4, we take it with a bishop. And f5 and e6 are guarded by the pawns and this knight. So after f3, queen to h5 probably is the only move. Then this knight looks kind of loose. But I don't see a way to actually threaten the queen on h5 though. That would be preferable, to actually capture that queen. If I had a bishop along the on d1, let's say, this would probably be a simpler task. But I'm really liking the f3 move. f3, queen h5. Let's say rook b7. Rook a to d8. Guarding this knight. Maybe not even rook b7, maybe rook b6. Simply attacking d6. But if that were the case, I could have gone there immediately. Oh, I feel like this queen on this diagonal protecting the knight is somewhat important for that knight. And I feel like once the queen gets to h5, I can also try to sack on f7 somehow. So after rook here, I can't sack immediately, but that would be an idea as well. Yeah. I don't see the continuation though. f3, queen h5, rook b7 or rook b6. Rook a d8. But after rook b6, what does it do? King to f8 probably. Yeah, king f8. Seems good enough. Annoying. Very much so. I do not see it. Okay, let's look again. f3, queen h5. Let's look at queen captures d7. King captures d7. Rook b7, check. King c8. Nah. It isn't forcing enough. My other rook is too far away, and my other pieces lack the mobility to actually come and checkmate black's king in this position. Okay, f3, queen h5. Do I have any other moves than rook b7 or rook b6? Or queen captures d7. My knight can't go to f4 or g3, and on c3 it just doesn't have anything to do. f3, queen h5, rook b7, rook a d8. And I'm stuck. Alright, so rook b6 instead. King f8, queen captures d6, check. King to g7, queen captures d7. Okay, so f3, queen h5, rook b6. Instead of king f8, what about king e8? Then queen captures d6 is not a check. And this knight is no longer pinned. Again, kind of annoying. Then rook captures d6. Where does this knight go? Knight to f6. Probably to protect this g8 rook. Okay, I'm so lost. I'm so lost in this calculation here. It's the second move that bugs me out. So many different moves. Rook b7 and rook b6 both looks really strong, but none of them seems to win for me. I don't see how I win material. Like rook b6, I win this pawn. But I have to take it with the rook, otherwise after king e8 he can take that rook with his knight. So after rook b6, king e8, rook captures d6. Maybe he doesn't even have to move his king. Maybe he can actually do something else. Let's say bishop captures g5. And then after queen captures d6 check, king e8 then. That's also a bit of an issue. So what about knight captures f7, bishop captures e3? If king captures f7, I have queen captures d7 check. That looks pretty strong. Knight captures f7, bishop captures e3. Queen captures d6 check, king captures f7, or king to e8. Both looks reasonable. If king captures f7, then queen captures d7 again. But I'm still down a piece there. Unfortunately. There's so many moves, and so many moves that looks good. Annoying. Really, really annoying. And there's no way for me to trap this queen. I've looked through those moves. I don't see a good way to do that. Okay, rook b7, rook a to d8. Nope. Rook b6. Bishop captures g5. Bishop captures g5. Queen captures g5. Rook captures d6. Then rook a d8. No, he can't. Yes, he can. Well, what am I talking about? Yes, he can. Rook b6, bishop captures g5, bishop captures g5, queen captures g5. Now he even has knight g2, or just knight to f8, simply protecting the knight and also attacking g2, threatening mate. So I can't deal with g5, I have to have something more forcing. And queen captures d7, king captures d7, rook b7, check, king c8 doesn't work again. Nope. Oh man. So what if I just take on f7 immediately, and after, if bishop captures e3, I take here with check, king captures, queen captures, check, and let's say the knight moves to e7. Then rook captures e3. At least I've won 2 pawns. But I'm not liking this g-file. I do not like this g-file. So again, after these moves and the knight goes to e7 and rook captures e3, he has queen to g5. Again threatening mate on g2, but now also threatening my rook on e3. That's a big problem. Ooh, but maybe then. No, I don't even have queen f5 check because the knight on e7 is then guarding f5. Yeah. But knight captures f7, bishop captures e3, queen captures d6, check, king captures f7, queen captures d7, knight to e7. Wow. There's possibly a very easy answer to this that I don't see. Probably it is. Could also go for f4. Hanging my knight on e2 and my rook on f1. But it is something to consider. But I think I'm one tempo too short. So after f4, queen captures e2, f captures e5. Then queen captures f1 check, king to h2. Nah, it doesn't work. It does not work. Okay. So annoying. Alright, rook b7, rook a d8. And it kind of just stops there. I don't have a continuation from there on. I don't. Rook b6. Bishop captures g5. Queen captures d6 check, king e8. Oh, this got so freaking hard. Like, first I thought everything looked good, but now I see most of the moves I make looks poor. Because I do not have a continuation. And I've been through these tactics books where I've actually set up the position on a chessboard, regular chessboard, standard one. And I've had it for days. Like, I think the prettiest one was, I think, made in 16. And calculating all those lines was just freaking insane. But I sat down and did not give up. I didn't look at any solution, and I told myself, you're not able to move the pieces, just move them in your mind. And actually I got pretty much stronger after those intense weeks of chess solving. But this looks just silly. Again, so many moves looks good, but so many moves looks like they're also losing. Rook b6 Is that my final answer? Knight f7, I think I went through and found that it does not work. Ooh! I've forgotten about a great thing here. So after knight captures f7, if king captures, or bishop captures here on e3, then queen captures d6, king captures f7, queen captures d7, check, knight here to e7, protecting from that check. Then I have queen to e6 check. Maybe that works out actually. Maybe. Jeg er midt i en innspilling, så bare gå ut igjen. So maybe I can do something else, but I'm not sure. So after queen to e6, the king has to step to g7 or f8. But other than that, like if g7, then I take on f7, obviously. So probably king to f8. Also to still have this g file open for his rook. But then what? Then what indeed? Then rook b7. Does that work? Then rook a2, or just rook simply to e8. But I also have queen to f6 there in that case. Queen f6 check, then king goes. Then he's actually mated if rook to e8 there. Does that really work? So queen e6 check, king f8, rook b7. No, he has bishop or queen back to g5, protecting the knight on e7. That's a bummer. Probably queen g5 to attack on g2. Yeah. Guys, I don't see it. I really don't see it, but I really want to solve this as well. I've spent so much time trying to deal with this. Why does it have to be that hard? Knight captures f7, bishop captures e3, queen captures d6 check. And again, another line is both king e8 and king d8. Well, not king d8 actually, because my knight is guarding that. So king e8, as well as king captures f7. If king to e8, what then? Okay, I've spent enough time on this. I'm sorry, guys. If this wasn't a video, I could have gone on for hours. But let's just try this. Knight captures f7. And problem solved. Okay. I feel a bit bad though, since I do not see the full continuation here. I really have missed many moves here. So I feel like we should go and analyze this later. Okay. Let's continue. Knight to f6. Okay. But both rook b7 and rook b6 in that last puzzle didn't seem to work out for me. That's why I think knight captures f7 was the logical choice for a puzzle. But if that was a real game, I don't think I would have gone with knight captures f7 because I didn't see a good continuation there. But maybe I would have had more time then as well. Alright, so one check appears to me. Knight captures e5. Forces the king to h7 probably. if the king goes to h4, I think that's just a mate, right? With queen h3. So yeah, the king has to move to h7. So that's pretty forcing. Knight captures e5 check. And again, king h5 is mate. Yep. So king h7. Yeah, so the mate is after knight captures e5. King goes here. Then queen to h3 checkmate. Because, simply put, my knight here defends both the g4 and g6 squares. And this bishop guards the g5 square. So there's no way for this king to go to the g file. And there's no piece to put in between the king and the attacker. So knight captures knight captures e5, king h7. But then what? King h2 looks really fun, actually. Just simply king h2 and then bringing a rook over to h1. If that is a move, I'm gonna be thrilled. Well, I am thrilled about that. If I were playing this in a blitz game, probably I would have played rook, king h2 and rook h1, king back to g1, and had some fun. At least I win this bishop. At least, I think. But hey, knight captures e5, king to h7. Maybe even just rook d3. Maybe that's even better. Rook to d3. The knight can't move because then I have queen to g6 check, followed by bishop to h6. If the king moves to g8. If the king moves to h8, then I have rook to h3 check first, and then bishop to h6. Or even rook h7 first, and then bishop h6. So I think if the knight moves, then he's dead. Dead lost. Knight e5, king h7, rook d3. What can he do? What can he possibly do? I don't understand what black can do to prevent severe loss of material or mate. Knight e5 check, king h7 again, rook d3, trying to get this rook to h3, checking, and after bishop or knight moves here after the check, because the king doesn't have any escape squares. Then rook captures bishop or knight, but I have to figure out what can black play in between after rook d3. So knight e5, king h7, rook d3. What can black play now to prevent this idea? And can he prevent it? That's my question. Something he could try, maybe, is bishop f8. I don't see how that's going to work any better, though. Bishop f8, then still rook h3 check, king to g7, and queen to f7 looks like it's mate. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go for that. I don't see how black is gonna survive, and if this is wrong, then okay, let's go. All right, problem solved. Cool. I like that one, although this one was way easier than the last one. I feel like the last one, like, I didn't see the continuation whatsoever. And I'm sorry, this video is gonna be really, really long. I'm sorry about that. But I want to do one more. I want to try one more. Just for the fun of solving tactics. And because, well, why not? You can just skip ahead if you feel like I'm thinking too much and solving too little. King h6, okay. So already I feel like queen to f8 should be a really strong continuation here. Queen f8 check. He doesn't have any moves other than queen to g7. And then we have queen to f4 check. Then he plays g5, only move. The queen is blocking that king inside. So what do we do after that? After g5? That's a question. That's the question. So queen f8 check. Remember, the king can't go to h5. It's protected by a bishop. And g5 is protected by a pawn. So queen f8 forces queen to g7. Queen goes to f4. Then he has to play g5. But I really need to have something pretty darn strong here. And I feel like queen captures d6 might be a good solution to that. So queen captures d6. That means that, again, there's nowhere that king can go. So the queen has to go to g6. And after the queen goes to g6, I can actually play queen to f8 check again. Wow. Queen f8 check again, and the queen has to go to g7. Then I play queen captures c5. Maybe not. Maybe I can't play queen captures c5. But that would have been so funny if that was like a windmill idea. But I see now that queen captures c5 doesn't come with a check, so that does not work. If you guys don't know what the windmill is, it's a pretty much a rook and bishop. Probably that's the most basic windmill idea, rook and bishop. The rook just goes from a check. It moves away, so it unleashes the bishop on the diagonal and gives a check on the king, probably or possibly in the corner. And then the king would have to move. And then you simply grab material with a rook. And when the king moves, you simply move back with your rook and gives another check. Let's say on g8, g7, so that the king on g8 has to move to h8. And then you bring your rook all the way to a7, giving another check. Or capturing a pawn or bishop or whatever that is there. And then you keep on doing that until you can have all the material in the world. I love that. But okay, queen f8 check. Queen goes to g7. Queen to f4 check. g5. Queen captures d6 check. Queen has to go to g6. Queen f8 check. Queen g7 again. And after queen g7 there, then I take on g5. So after pawn captures g5 there, he could play king captures g6. No, I mean king to g6. But I think bishop to h5 just simply wins me the queen here. Oh man, that looks so strong. Queen f8, queen g7, queen f4 check, g5, queen captures d6 check, queen to g6, queen to f8 check again, queen g7, and then pawn captures g5. Oh man. Oh, I love that idea. Yeah, let's go for that. Oh man, oh man. And now the king, okay, he could have gone to g6 as well, but obviously bishop to h5 wins for me as well. But wow, I love that idea. I think this is the first time I've seen this much control from a queen over another queen. I love it. I love it. Alright. Okay. So, we end at 2,290 rating points. I think we gained like 5 points. I think we started at 2,285. I'm not sure. I'm really bad with remembering stuff like that. But okay, I think we passed 3 and solved 1 incorrectly. So that's the one we're gonna go to right now. If I can manage to do that, obviously. Tactics here. Oh, no. Yeah, okay. No, not the one we got wrong, but the one we didn't see the continuation on. This was it, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, so let me just correct some things here so that we can get everything working. Yeah, so as you can see, it doesn't work. That's not it. This isn't. Nope, nope, nope. Alright, let's just go there. Alright, even though you can't see the computer evaluation, let's just use that. And it says plus 2.64. So that means that white is ahead with 2.5 pawns pretty much. So here, black played knight to d7. Although it said here from Stockfish's point of view that queen to d7 is much better than knight to d7. So that is like the queen d7 move is the best continuation for black. But here, after f3, and I feel like f3 is such an important move to make here. Like I felt like this diagonal was so important, and you can see that also the rook and queen battery is almost threatening to mate me here on g2 if these two knights move. So I have to deal with that. So getting rid of the queen, and then yeah, the computer suggests knight captures f7 as well, obviously, duh. And now bishop captures e3. This was my main line. Queen captures d6 probably. Let's see. No, it's actually rook captures e3 or knight captures d6. Queen captures d6 is also very strong for white, plus 5. But if I want to keep the plus 7 or 8 that we have right now with this terrible blunder by black, apparently, with knight to d7, then we play knight captures d6 or rook captures e3. Not queen captures d6. But okay, so let's look at this continuation then. Knight captures d6. And now bishop g5. Really? Okay. So probably this is because this black king is stuck in the middle of the board. So now we have knight f5 check, king to e8, keeping an eye on this d7 knight. Now rook to b6 because reasons, I don't know. We're threatening a mate in 2 if he captures. So if the knight captures, we obviously play knight to d6 check, and the king has to move, and then we have queen to f7, which is mate. Okay, I didn't actually need the computer to see that. Now just simply rook to d8, guarding this knight. And now probably rook. Really, rook captures a6. Okay, so this is way too complicated for me to actually comprehend. I don't see how this is so winning. Like the computer says that this is winning, and it is a real game played on chess.com. Back in 2008, it seems, between Fiends and Ronald, whoever those guys are. Okay, so basically it says that I'm up a full queen now, and probably I am, but it's really hard to calculate all these continuations, I feel like. So hey, I feel like a strong player for playing right and correctly with knight captures f7, but I don't feel as good because I didn't see the follow-up. I wanted to play queen captures d6, and that was good enough, Apparently, that was plus 4.5. But still, so much to consider here. There's too much to consider, and there's no forced mate here, guys. No forced mate whatsoever. Okay, I think that ends the video for today. That was pretty insane. Wow. Wow. Okay. Thank you guys so much for having watched all the way through. Or if you haven't, if you have skipped, that's totally fine. I totally understand that. I've been searching for Bobby Fischer in that move. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good one. Bye.